Sarah's just asked me to talk about our hot compost. Well, we have three different kinds of composting here on the land. We do vermiculture, which is composting with worms. We do slow composting, which is basically piling stuff up and just waiting for it to decompose. We get a lot of manure. We get horse manure from a animal rescue place, and that really helps us out a lot. So we don't just have, and we have as well the manure from, but we'll get into that in a minute. That's vermiculture, the worm composting, and the slow composting, and then we do the hot composting, which is what Sarah and I did this morning, and it's quite an elaborated process. And we've built these stalls, you can see here, for this purpose, to have the different ingredients divided up. So when it comes time to make the hot compost, it's easier. So the components of compost to make so hot compost is based on bacteria, and the microorganisms, bacteria react, and that's what makes the heat, okay? And leaves, a lot of people, so the two important components of hot compost is the nitrogen and carbon. So from carbon we have like dried out can be dried leaves or plants or straw or stuff that's brown basically, okay? And then we have nitrogen. So for the nitrogen we have, and right now it's empty because we just used it, we have what we clean out from the chicken coop because there's the straw, but basically the chicken manure has a lot of nitrogen in it. So that, we get coffee grounds from a cafe, so we use that too. We didn't today, but we will in the future. We have the horse manure. You can use old compost as well to activate. Today we used comfrey, which is an amazing plant. It's very green. It's full of nitrogen because it's full of a lot of other minerals because it has a taproot that can go down 5 meters. And from the depth of the earth, it captures all kinds of minerals that just make it have this beautiful turquoise color, and it adds a lot of heat to the pile. So it's a compost activator. You can also use plantain, you can use grasses, green grass, and then we have the kitchen scraps. So one thing that I want to keep out of the pile is onions, garlic, and lemons. So they're at the end there in a totally different separate pile, and we don't put them into our compost. Why is that? Worms don't like onions, garlic, oranges, and lemons. So we keep it separate because we want worms in our compost pile. Another thing that some people will put in their compost pile, and I don't, are leaves. So we have separate bins for leaves, and we compost our leaves separately to make a leaf mulch because leaves break down through fungus, and these other things that we just talked about break down through bacteria. So it's a different process. So you can put, even though this compost pile will get to 60-70 degrees, at the end of 2 weeks everything else is broken down and the leaves are still there. Why? Because leaves break down through fungal decomposition and not bacterial. So we keep them separate even though they could be considered a carbon. So all of that said, there's so much more detail I could go into. But the basic ratio that we look for is 2 carbon to 1 nitrogen. And there's lots of varying different ratios in that because, straw might be more, might be less, but to make it really simple, because even though it's still a little complicated, we use 2 buckets of carbon and 1 bucket of nitrogen. Another thing that I neglected to mention is we also use some wood chips or wood shavings or sawdust. We try to not use the really fine sawdust because it can make it really compacted and it doesn't work as well. So what we did today is we've got these bins over here. You can see the ones that are closed up here. And we made what's called a hot compost lasagna. So we started at the bottom and we just put the 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 all the way up. And it took us a good 2 hours, 3 hours probably before we got it totally full, both of them. And so they're now going to sit. So this morning when we put it in, do you remember what it was, Sarah? I think it was 14 degrees, 15 degrees? 18? Okay, well, it's gone up a little bit, not a lot. But that's just a couple of hours ago. But by tomorrow, that'll be, who knows, maybe 30 degrees. And we'll leave it 4 to 5 days. It'll get, we don't want it to get above 70 degrees because at 70 degrees, then it starts the breaking down the good bacteria as well as the bacteria, the bad bacteria that we want to get rid of. And another good thing about the hot composting is that it gets rid of the seeds that are in the plants that you're using to compost. So it's a cleaner compost by the end of the day. So anyway, we've got them all layered, and the temperature is going to go up 60 to 70 degrees. If it gets to 70, then we'll do it sooner. But if it doesn't, we'll wait probably 5 days, and then we're going to turn them. This one will turn into here. We need to get this out. This is the stuff from the last pile. We'll turn this one into here, that one into there, cover it again, wait 2 days. And we do that till the end of the 18th, 20th day. And by the end, we have amazing compost. And that's why we have such a crazy, amazing garden. So thank you.